After that, me and Emily decided to leave the milkshake shop, as we had made a bit of a scene. And after leaving, we spent most of the day together, bouncing from one place to the next in Newgate City. It was an entirely different experience, for more than one reason. The sprawling amount of things to do in Newgate City was just, well, astonishing. Around every corner there was a new bar, a diner, some shop selling gadgets or contraptions to look at, toy shops, clothing stores, electronic stores, movie theaters, the works. There was basically everything. And we spent a little bit of time doing basically everything we could. That was when we weren't latched to each other's faces, which was a new twist on our relationship. And it was hot and heavy, basically the whole day. It felt like whenever we got the opportunity, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Walking around a corner, sitting in the movie theater, taking pictures, even before we got on to Titan or after we got off. What time we didn't spend sightseeing, joy shopping, or face latching. We spent laughing, talking about the old days, how difficult things used to be to get anything. And all the times we, well, got close but never actually reached there. Telling stories about all the times that we thought about making a move on the other one, but didn't for whatever the reason be, and then laugh about it. We eventually wound up at a fairly nice bar, throwing back drinks, and dancing to some weird new wave music. Honestly, it could have been anything in the background. I don't think it would have mattered. We probably still would have been dancing anyways. The new turn of events in our relationship status had basically seemed to put both of us on cloud nine. But as the night grew on, day faded away and the stars came out. The few of them that you could actually see through the city lights. And we had more than our fair share to drink. We decided it was probably about time to head home. Luckily, I had a permanent designated driver, because I was probably way too hammered to be behind the wheel of any sort of vehicle. Luckily enough, Titan could self-pilot, so it was basically like a ride-along. We just had to strap ourselves in a bit to make sure we didn't drunkenly fall off. But we eventually made our way back to the mansion that we were staying in. It honestly didn't quite feel like home. At least not yet anyways. As we parked Titan and drunkenly stumbled into the rest of the house, deciding that it was about time to hit the sack, Emily elected to stay with me for the night, opting to sleep in my room. If you're hoping for a play-by-play, you can forget it. We all know what happens from this point on. New couple, infatuated with each other, and highly alcohol stimulated. Yeah, things happened. A lot of things happened. Suffice it to say, I woke up the next morning with Emily cradled against me, which was, well, awesome. I mean, normally I don't feel like getting out of bed. You know, having to drag yourself out of bed when you're comfortable is already a pain by itself. But I was very quickly finding that having a beautiful woman in your bed makes the task even less pleasant. You don't really want to go anywhere. You're perfectly content to just stay right there. I almost didn't want to get up at all, for fear that Emily might wake up and suddenly start second-guessing the decision. So, for a while, even though I woke up before Emily, I just stayed there, looking at her cradled next to me, her head resting on my shoulder, long strands of red hair, wild and out of place, as she drooled just a little bit. There were a few moments when it looked like she might wake up, but instead, in her dream state, opted to cling tighter to me, nestling in even closer. It was actually very adorable. Eventually, she did wake up, and despite my concerns that she might second-guess her decision, as she woke up cradled against me, lifting her head and opening her eyes to peer over at me. She got a warm smile on her face and pulled herself up for a kiss. "Morning. Sorry, I'm a little hazy. I sort of lose track of things after shot number 10, she said, with a big smile on her face as she began to nestle her face against mine, rubbing her nose across my face, pressing cheeks ever so gently as she ran her fingers through my hair. You know, I am fairly foggy, so it might be beneficial to have a refresher course, she said softly, feeling her body pressing harder against my own. Yeah, this is the start of a good day. It just has to be, I thought to myself, as I couldn't help but smile, wrapping my arms around her as we began to kiss. And wouldn't you know it, that's when the door to my room swung open. Note to self: attach Titan systems to the locks on my door so that she can automatically lock them when I'm drunk. Because it was at that point that my brother Michael waltzed into the room. "Hey bro, today's the..." he said as he paused mid-statement. "Whoa!" he said, turning around and walking directly back out of the door, closing it behind him. Sorry to interrupt," he shouted from outside of the door. "But today's the day of the press conference, bro. You're actually supposed to be there in a little while. You didn't forget, did you?" "Oh, who am I kidding? By the looks of it, you've had other things on your mind. But you do have a schedule to keep. I'll be waiting downstairs," he said as I heard his footsteps trailing off. In the moment, I thought Emily might be a bit more horrified. But as she sat there on top of me, only really half covered by the blankets wrapped around her, her head cocked over her shoulder, looking back towards the door, suddenly she just started laughing, falling flat on my chest, with a very serious case of the chuckles. Wow, one day of secrecy is all we could manage. You know he's probably telling everyone right now, right? At that point, I couldn't help laughing myself. Are you kidding me? Knowing Michael, I'd be surprised if he didn't try to make this the focal point of the press conference I'm supposed to show up at. "Greetings, Newgate City. My brother got some play," I said, laughing. We giggled there for a little bit together before finally deciding that it was time to get up and that all other activities would have to be put on the back burner for the moment. Emily quickly got dressed so she could go to her room and take a shower and get a fresh change of clothes, while I took a shower myself and changed into the supposedly respectable business clothes that my father got for me. A suit and tie wasn't really my style, but it was important to maintain the biotech image.